Hey, I'm Sophie and this is the Studio SE6. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's class will be about 30 minutes long. We'll go through some breath awareness, a warm-up, and then on to the main part of the practice, which will be based around the warrior postures in yoga. And then I've even managed to fit a nice short relaxation for you at the end. If you're working with tight hamstrings, lower back or glutes other than your yoga mat, I highly recommend grabbing either 2 yoga blocks if you have them, or 2 sturdy books or something similar in size to yoga blocks. So these will help elevate the floor for you. So where I may bring my fingertips down to the floor, you would bring fingertips down to the blocks instead, and that's working at any height that suits you. And use the blocks where necessary, rather than contort yourself into all these funky shapes to try and please your ego and get your fingertips to the floor. It's not going to benefit you and it's not going to benefit your practice. So use the props, modify if you need to. So I would have them handy at the top of your mat the whole time. Always modify, as I say, anytime during the class. Rest, come to child's pose, or whatever position is comfortable for you to rest, and then join back in when you can. So I think I've probably said everything I need to. If you enjoy the class, please leave comments in the box below and subscribe to the channel for your weekly fix. Okay, so we're going to start standing. So I'm going to prepare and I'll see you on the mat. Let's start today standing up nice and tall at the top of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, shrug the shoulders to the ears, and exhale, slide them down towards the waist. Let's do 2 more here. And on this last one, as the shoulders come back and down, take a deep sigh out through the mouth. Turn the palms to the front and allow the arms to rest heavy by your sides. Stay lifted up nice and tall, crown of the head in line with the base of the spine. And now let's just rock backwards and forwards between the balls of the feet and the center of the heels. Coming back into the center and feeling the weight spread equally in the mounds of the big toes, the little toes, and the center of each heel. Stacking your shoulders above your hips, keeping your knees soft, let's just take a few settling in breaths here. Breathing down into the belly and allow the belly to softly and naturally expand. On the exhale, the navel draws back gently towards the spine. And with each exhale, just letting go of any thoughts, any physical or mental stress, allowing yourself this time to fully focus on the present. Staying anchored to your mat through the breath. And now let's bring our hands to heart center. Rocking forwards with an inhale onto the balls of the feet and lift out through the crown of the head. Exhaling, sink the heels back down and lift the toes. So just playing with the weight here, rocking backwards and forwards. When you come forwards, again pressing into the mounds of the big toes and the little toes, and when you rock back, the weight is in the center of the heels. And now as we come forwards, let's lift the arms above the head at shoulder distance. Exhale, sink to the heels, take hold of your right wrist in your left hand and lean over to the left. Press out through the right palm. Keep the chest open here. Inhaling, come back to center. Swoop the arms round, exhale and sink back into chair. Inhale, hold on to the shins, halfway fold, reaching out through the crown of the head, finding length and extension in the spine. Now soften the knees and fold over the thighs. Inhale, rising back up into that ball of the foot mountain pose. Ready to take the wrist on the left now. Reach over to the right, press out through the left palm. Inhale to center. Exhale, sink the hips back to chair pose. Inhale, finding length in your halfway fold. And exhaling, soften over the thighs. Let's do that again. Inhaling, lifting, come up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, sink to the heels, and we're coming over now to the left. Inhale to center, and exhale to chair. Hold on to the shins as you halfway fold, and then exhale, fully fold over the thighs. Take the right leg back behind you and lower the knee. Inhale, reach the arms up by the ears or hands to heart center, crescent moon. Knee and ankle in line at the front, and a slight tuck of the tailbone here, opening up across the front of the left hip. Circle the arms all the way round, hands to floor or blocks, and now rock your weight back so your hips are over your back knee. Front leg doesn't have to be straight, think more about extension here in the spine. Inhaling, rocking forwards, coming back up to that crescent lunge, pressing away from the floor, and exhaling, rocking back to half split. So let's just move between these two one more time. Inhaling to lift and exhaling to rock back. Now lunge back to the front and let's add a twist. Reach out the left arm by the ear, rotate the rib cage to the left and turn that left palm up on the sacrum. Roll the shoulders back and down, lengthen out through the crown of the head. Inhale, bring the arm all the way back round and exhale back to your half split. Now push off that back leg, come to the front, feet parallel. Inhaling, rising up onto the balls of the feet, and let's take that lean over towards the right. Inhale to center, and exhale, sit deep in those hips to chair pose. Inhaling, halfway fold, and exhaling over the thighs. Take your left leg back behind, lower the knee, and find your crescent lunge. Arms by the ears or hands to heart center. Again, slight tuck of the tailbone here, finding length across the front of that left hip. Circle the arms round and rock back to your half split. Remembering that the front leg doesn't have to be straight, just focus on extension through the spine. Inhaling back to your crescent lunge. And exhaling, rocking those hips over the back knee. Let's do one more here. Just moving easily between the two. And now adding that twist to the right. Stay here. Reach your right arm out by the ear. Rotate the rib cage to the right and palm upturned on the sacrum. Slide the shoulders down away from the ears. Reach out through the crown of the head. And let's take that arm all the way back to the front. Rock back to your half split and then push forwards, feet parallel to the front. Inhaling all the way up to mountain pose and exhaling, sink to the heels. Take hold of your right wrist, press through the right palm, lean to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate your rib cage to the left, come up on the toes or lift the knee in line with the hip. Arms to cactus position. Inhale to center, sink those hips way back, chair pose. Halfway fold and full forward fold, softening the knees here. Step your right leg back, coming into crescent lunge. Circle the arms round, take one half split here. Back into your crescent lunge. And now let's come to half plank position. Hands stacked underneath shoulders and step that right leg back, feet parallel here. Lower the knees, pull the chest forwards and the elbows back, lower the body down to the mat. Inhale, roll your shoulders around your ears, draw them back to the waist, lengthen out again through the crown of the head, coming into cobra. Nose to the mat, tuck the toes, press onto your knees and back to your heels. Now roll off your knees and come into our first downward facing dog. So the heels don't need to touch the floor here. You can always bend the knees and work the chest back towards the thighs, finding length in the spine. Inhaling, slowly lower to the knees and exhale, sit back to your heels. With an inhale, bring your right foot forwards into crescent lunge. Exhaling, step to the front. Let's do the same thing on the other side, reaching up through the fingertips in mountain pose. Lower to the heels and lean to the right. Back to center and add in that cactus arm twist, balancing on the toes or lift the right knee. Inhaling back to center, and now see if you can sink back a little deeper in your chair pose. Hold on to the shins, halfway fold, and exhale, full forward fold. Let's go on the left side, stepping back with the left leg, crescent lunge. Rocking back, half split. Rocking forwards, crescent lunge. And now let's take plank position. Option to lower the knees again or keep the legs completely lifted and straight now. Pull the chest forwards, elbows back, shoulders and hips at the same time down to the mat. Inhaling, finding cobra here. All 10 toes down on the mat. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift again, straight legs or onto your knees, and press back, child's pose or downward facing dog. Finding again length here in the spine, gaze towards the big toes. Take an inhale and take an exhale through the mouth, big sigh. So now let's take our right leg and extend our right leg up and back behind us, reaching out through the heel. Keep the weight back. And make sure here you're lifting your chest between your shoulder blades so you have a broad upper back. So now let's bring the heel into the sit bone, curl underneath the body, look to the knee, and then extend back to your 3-leg dog. So as you come under, navel draws to spine, allowing space for that thigh to come through. Last one here, curling all the way and lunge to the front. Bringing the foot to the right thumb. Now let's make our way into ball of the foot, warrior 1. Knee and ankle stacked, high on the ball of the back foot, and a softness in the knee so the hip points can face directly forwards rather than down to the thigh. Now rotate your ribcage to the right and open up the arms. Come back to center. Squeeze the elbows together, lift the heart towards the ceiling, squeeze the shoulder blades, open up across the chest. And then bring the arms back in line with the shoulders, look to the front, take cactus arms, and as you do, start to lower your knee down to the mat. Bring your hands to blocks or underneath the shoulders on the fingertips. Let's tap those back toes to the front heel. Keep your hips really low here and keep the weight back behind your toes. So you want to make sure that the knee doesn't jut forwards here of those front toes. And let's do one more here. And now hold here. Walk the hands a little way in front. And now extend the underneath leg. Reach out through that left heel to supported warrior 3. Again, using blocks if you need to. Now sink the weight back down. Bringing those back toes to the front heel and extend back up. Making sure again your weight is back and your front heel remains in contact with the mat the entire time. Keep length and extension through the spine. Hold here, take your right hand open on your sacrum, and let's see if we can rotate the ribcage towards the right. Revolved warrior 3. Take that top arm all the way back round to block or to floor. Walk your weight back. Come off the blocks if you're on them now and step back to plank. Again, you can come to the knees, to the floor for cobra, or shift your chest forwards, elbows back, all the way down to the mat. And then let's come up into, again, either cobra or upward facing dog. The arms are straight, the chest puffs through the shoulders, and the crown of the head is lifted. Draw navel to spine, make your way up to half plank or full plank, and press back to downward facing dog. And then from here, let's even it out and go to the left side. Lift up the left leg, reach through the left heel. Bring the heel to the sit bone and curl underneath on an exhale. Inhale to reach away and find length. Exhale to curl in and under, stacking shoulders and wrists. Last one here. Now let's lunge all the way through, foot to left thumb. Make sure you're hip distance apart here in the feet and come up to find that ball of the foot warrior one variation. Length in the lower spine, hip points point directly forwards, lower the back knee a little, and then let's rotate open to the left. Inhale to center and exhale, squeeze shoulder blades, elbows and forearms back as you lift the heart, spread the collarbones. Inhale back to center and exhale, pull down cactus arms as you lower the back knee to the mat. Let's take those 3 toe taps here, bringing those back toes to meet the front heel. Stay low in your stance, but stay lifted in your chest. Now hold here, walk the hands a little in front, straighten the bottom leg and extend out through the heel. Ready again for those toe taps to front heel. Extend and then sit back and tap the toes. Last one here. Reaching out nice and long through the crown of the head and the heel, let's take that revolved warrior 3. Left palm open on the sacrum, roll the shoulders back and down, rotate to the left. Maybe lift the top arm, completely optional. Turn back round to the front and land softly on the ball of that back foot. Step back to plank position, and again making sure here that you take the modification if you need to. Otherwise, I'll give you another option. Float down to chaturanga, elbows in line with the shoulders, and then press up to your upward facing dog. Pull from the navel back to the spine, lift the hips, find your half plank, full plank, and then press back to your downward facing dog. Let's take the right leg up into the air, ready for those 3 curls here. If you're tired, maybe just staying in your down dog and joining back in when you can. This is our last one. Let's lunge all the way through to the front. This time, let's lift the chest off the front thigh. Again, stay hip distance apart here and sink to arrow pose. Knee and ankle in line at the front. Hand options here, heart center, by the ears, or hands to the thighs. I'm going to take arms by the ears. This is slightly harder. Now let's bring those back toes in to meet the front heel. So same thing here, stay low, keep the weight behind the front toes, and just stepping forwards and back. Good, now stay in a chair position, just hovering on those left toes. Drop your body so that you're in a tabletop position and bring your hands to heart center. Bend that left knee and bring the heel to the bottom. And now let's see if we can keep this position and extend out to warrior 3. So notice my underneath leg is still bent in the same chair position. Now here, let's extend that underneath leg, press out through the back heel, warrior 3 position. Bringing that left knee around the body, bringing your left big toe to the inside of the right thigh, stand up tall. Now release the foot and take 3 small pulses with the knee up towards the ceiling. Bring it to the front and do the same thing again. Option to extend the leg out and then bend it back. Heel to the bottom. And now reach back out to that same warrior 3 position. Hands can stay at heart center here. Softly landing back on the ball of the back foot into your arrow pose. Bring the hands to the floor and let's take an optional vinyasa here, coming down to the floor through knees or full plank, choosing cobra or upward facing dog. Any of the options that I've given you so far. Let's take it back to our downward facing dog and get ready to go with the left side. Inhaling, lifting up the left leg, press out through the heel. Take 3 curls underneath the body, stacking those shoulders and the wrists, or stay in your down dog and rest here. Making sure you hug the navel into the spine to allow space for that thigh to come through now as the leg lunges all the way to the front. Let's press up into that arrow pose, hovering the chest from the front thigh. Choosing to have hands at heart center or a harder option, arms by the ears. Take 3 toe taps, back toes to meet front heel. Keep your weight way back. And on this last one, hold, hover on the right toes, lift to chair. And then drop the chest forwards, tabletop chair, hands to heart center. Lifting up that right heel to the right sit bone and extend out, warrior 3. Keep that underneath leg bent. We have 3 of these. Sink that weight into the front heel. Last one. Now lengthen that back leg and press up to your warrior 3. When you're ready, let's take that right knee around the body as we come to stand tall. Just tap the right big toe to the inner left leg. And let's take those knee pulses 3 times, knee to ceiling, and then back in line with the hip. Come back to the front, 3 knee pulses here, just small movements, and then an option to extend the leg or stay where you are. Bend the leg back in, start to tip forwards as you extend that right leg back behind you, reaching into warrior 3. Softly landing on the ball of the back foot, and let's bring it back down to plank position. Again, choosing to come to the knees or fully down through plank to up dog. Coming back to your downward facing dog. Really pressing back through the hands, lift the hips up and back, remembering to bend the knees if you need to find length in the spine. Let's take the right leg up and back behind you. Bring the heel in towards the bottom, and this time you'll be pleased to know we're just going to roll all the way under and lunge foot to right thumb. Come back up into that arrow pose, making sure you're hip distance apart in the feet. Choosing to have your arms back on your thigh, or you can reach the arms by the ears. This time we're going to try and lift the knee all the way up to the front in line with the hip, and then slowly lunge back through to the arrow pose. So let's do a few more of these if we can. Hugging navel to spine as you lift up tall, and then making sure that your knee and ankle are in line when you lunge back. Good, now stay here and we'll take it to warrior 2. Swoop the arms round and open up towards your left. So front knee bends over ankle, the front heel is in line with the back heel or the arch, and the back foot turns in slightly. Stack crown of the head in line with the base of the spine. And now let's turn the palms up and reach overhead as you straighten the front leg. Turn the palms down, sit back to your warrior 2. Inhale to lift, and exhale, warrior 2. Last one here. Now let's take ball of the foot warrior 2 as an option. So this is completely optional. You can lift the heel at the front and sink into that back hip a little deeper. Keep the knee and ankle in line. Now take the back hand down the back thigh and reach that front palm over to the nape of the neck. Take hold of the elbow with the left hand, elbow points to the ceiling, and maybe lift onto the ball of the foot. Again, completely optional here. Come back into your warrior 2, heel down. Now interlacing the hands behind you, or you can choose to hold your forearms or even have your hands on your hips. Turn your chest to face the left corner of your mat. And then with extension in the spine, let's fold forwards and bring the arms up and overhead. Seeing if you can make a connection between the upper right arm and the inner right thigh. Adjusting the hands if you need to bring them to the floor or to the hips. Humble warrior 2. Now taking your hands down to the floor, let's walk to your open side, so over to your left, sink your weight into your right hip and then over to your left. So we're just rocking between the two, the feet are parallel to the front, your chest is lifted. Make sure that your heel always stays in contact with the mat. Let's do one more here, sit that weight way back. And then as you come back round to your right leg, let's walk around to a high lunge. From here, pick up that front leg and extend back into a 3-leg dog. From here, keep floating that leg up as you come into plank. Either lower it down to come to the knees to cobra, or take an up dog here. Take it all the way back through plank to downward facing dog. I'm just going to quickly flip sides here so that I don't have my back to you, and we're ready for the left side. Lift up the left leg, bring the heel in towards the bottom and curl underneath, all the way through to the front. Pressing up into your arrow pose here, feet hip distance apart. Arms by the ears or to heart center. Let's take those knee lifts to the front. So steeple position is another option here. Sometimes I find that it helps to find my balance, pressing the palms together and reaching out through the index fingers. Hugging navel to spine as the knee comes through, softly lunging back. Let's do one more of these. And lunge all the way back through to arrow pose. Let's take warrior 2 now, opening out to the right. Front knee bends over ankle, back foot turned in slightly and weight in the center. Maybe lifting up onto the ball of the front foot and sinking into the back hip, keeping the knee and ankle in line still as you do this. Place the heel down, and now let's lengthen the front leg, bring the palms together overhead, and then sink back to your warrior 2. Inhale, lift up tall, reach away from the floor, and exhale, sink back down. Last one here, inhaling, exhaling, sink down, and then taking that tricep stretch, reaching the left arm up, and the hand comes back to the nape of the neck. Take your right hand, hold on to the tip of the elbow here, and draw the elbow up towards the ceiling. Option to lift onto the ball of the front foot. Sink the heel down now, warrior 2, and prepare for humble warrior 2. Choosing your arm position, shoulders face the front right corner of your mat, and we bow down with a long spine. Maybe making a connection here between the upper left arm and the inner thigh. Grounding through both feet here. Take the hands down to the floor, and let's walk to your open side and take those rocks from side to side. Feet can be parallel, or you can turn onto the extended legs heel. Make sure that your heel remains down on the side that you're bending to. So you don't want to lift the heel here. Your weight stays back behind that bent knee. Keep the chest lifting. Maybe sink a little deeper into the hips. And now let's walk around to the front facing that left leg. And now step back to 3-leg dog, taking that left heel out and back behind you. Your last vinyasa coming up here, choosing to float that left leg to hip height the entire time to come down to the floor, and then inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale through half plank, full plank, and then back to downward facing dog. Take an inhale here through the nose and an exhale through the mouth. Option to either jump here softly between the hands and come to the bottom, or just step one leg through then the other. So let's sit nice and tall at the top of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Extend the arms in front and roll back to your tailbone. Tuck your chin slightly here, and then with your next exhale, roll down through the spine. Keep tipping the pelvis back, drawing the navel in. When the head touches, take a full body stretch. Inhaling, reaching away, and exhaling, let's hug the knees into the chest. Hold the shins or behind the thighs. Maybe roll around the sacrum here, making small circles, massaging the base of the spine. And now let's bring the feet down to the floor, hip distance apart, a little away from the sit bones. Bring your arms down by your sides, shuffle your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, and with the exhale, press through the feet, tip the pelvis back and roll up through the spine to the tops of the shoulders. Take one breath in here and exhale to roll yourself back down, pulling your tailbone towards your heels. Coming into your relaxation now, choosing to walk the feet as wide as your mat and buckle the knees in towards one another, constructive rest pose. Or take corpse pose with the legs long and the feet turned out to the corners of the mat. Either take the arms away from the body, palms upturned, or you can rest the hands either side of the navel. So just take a moment here just to notice how you're feeling both mentally and physically. And any subtle changes from the beginning of your practice to now. Closing the eyes, softening the skin and the muscles of the face. And take this moment here to allow the mind and the body to absorb your practice. Allow the breath to return to a nice, easy, comfortable pace. Breathing, if you can, in and out through the nose. Following your breath in and down to the belly. Watching the belly rise on the inhale and soften on the exhale. And with each exhale, allow the entire body to sink into the mat. Staying focused here on the path of your breath in and out. Allowing all other sounds to become distant. The entire body fully relaxed. The mind calm and still. And carrying this sense of peace and relaxation with you for the rest of your day. Beginning to wiggle the fingers and the toes, slowly waking the body up. Take a full body stretch here, inhaling, exhaling, swoop the arms around to hug around the knees. And then rocking backwards and forwards to bring yourself up to seated. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a big sigh through the mouth. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this practice and I hope to see you again soon.